Hello, moviegoers, and welcome to another edition of Have You Seen It? I'm your host, Denise, and I am going to tell you who my favorite actor is this week. My favorite actor is Don Cheadle. He is so talented and I think underrated. The movies that I have seen with Don Cheadle in them, either as a supporting cast member or a lead, three of my favorites: Hotel Rwanda, which he was nominated for an Academy Award; Devil in a Blue Dress. That's the first movie that I saw him in, I believe, and he just really cracked me up in that movie. And then Brooklyn's Finest, a very good police drama with Richard Gere and Wesley Snipes. So Don Cheadle is my favorite actor this week. Okay, folks, I'm going to jump right into my review, and my review comes from Netflix this week, and the name of the movie is Nonnas, and it stars Vince Vaughn, Brenda Vaccaro, Susan Sarandon, Lorraine Bracco, Talia Shire, Joe Manganiello. I hope I pronounced his name correctly, and Drea De Matteo, and Linda Cardellini. So we have a movie that is set in New York, specifically Staten Island, and the movie is about a gentleman who has lost his mom. He is grieving her recent death, and he risks everything to honor her by opening an Italian restaurant with actual grandmothers as chefs. This movie is based on a true story. I'd never heard of it before, and until I sat down to watch it, did not know it was based on a true story. The casting in this movie was really good. And it brought back memories for me, kind of deja vu, especially with the women who played the grandmothers in this movie. Brenda Vaccaro, I haven't seen her on screen in many years, so it was good to see her. And then of course Talia Shire, Yo Adrian, who kind of her role reminded me a lot of Adrian in the Rocky movies. But anyway, this gentleman, and he's played by Vince Vaughn, his name is Joe Scaravella, and he really wants to find a way to honor his mother and honor her in a way that highlights her extraordinary cooking skills. As a young boy, when the movie starts, as a young boy, you see him watching his mother and his grandmother prepare Italian meals that were just enormous. Lasagna, spaghetti, meatballs, all of the Italian flavor in everything that his mother and grandmother did. He realized that as he became an adult and his mother passed away, he really missed that, because he enjoyed just watching them, their preparation, and the love that they put into preparing meals for their family. And so he decides on a whim that he wanted to start this restaurant. He saw a restaurant that had that was for sale, up for rent or for sale or whatever, that had gone out of business. And so he had the bright idea that, hey, this would be a great opportunity for me to start this business. He already has a job, so he is really, burning the candle at both ends. He brings this idea to his best friend and his wife, and his best friend automatically, there is skepticism, there's zero support, there is no confidence that this man can pull this off. The best friend finds every reason imaginable to get Joe to see that this is not a good idea. Your mother left you, she would want you to live your life and do other things other than something like this. But of course, that skepticism falls on deaf ears. And so with the money that his mother left him, he opens this restaurant. And he, searches for grandmothers, specifically grandmothers who will do the cooking. And so that's where the elder women in this movie come into play, because they play those grandmothers. And so when he takes this feat on, of course, there's a lot that goes into it. I need a contractor. Hey, my best friend who didn't think I would be able to do this is a contractor, and I'm going to need his help. He needed the assistance of his co-workers to cover for him every time he got on the ferry to go to Staten Island to work on this project. And so once everybody is on board, of course, you have four grandmothers, in the kitchen trying to prepare their best Italian meals. There's going to be some bickering about, but all of that sort of thing gets ironed out, and it really evolves into something very magical. However, there are bumps and bruises along the way. There are bills that are piling up for Joe, and the money does not match what he needs in order to not only get this business off the ground, but to keep it running. So there are times when the math just ain't mathing, and he's got to figure out how he's going to do that. And so in this movie, you've got friendship, you've got grief, you've got heartache, you've got love, you've got struggle, but you also have a belief in oneself, played by our main character, his determination and his resilience to carry on this dream of his, this vision, is quite heartwarming to watch. And not only is family involved throughout this movie, you also have, that's the family you're born into. So you've got that element. But as this entire process evolves and grows, he now has family that he has chosen. And when they all come together, things begin to work out. So I won't tell you how things work out or to the extent that they do, but it's a heartwarming movie. It's totally different from what I was about to review today, because this movie has zero sex, zero nudity. You're not shooting and killing, and there are no car chases, none of that. It's just a feel-good movie. It has a running time of an hour, 54 minutes or so, and it's a family-friendly movie, so your children can watch this movie as well. So if you want to see something a little different, something to just get away from some of the other types of movies maybe that you have on your list to see, or movies that I review or are going to review. This is just something nice and easy, very chill. I think you will enjoy this movie, Nonnas. And stay for the credits because you're going to learn a little bit of history about this restaurant and the Nonnas and everything that went into this. So please stay and watch those credits. All right, folks, I am going to jump into my Nailed It. And my Nailed It this week is the movie Julia, starring the magnificent Meryl Streep as Julia Child and Stanley Tucci as her husband. And I mean, Meryl Streep killed it in this movie. She was Julia Child. The mannerisms, the voice, everything, her personality. It was so fun to watch her portray this woman. But there's a scene in the movie. It's not very long, but there's a scene in the movie that will just tug at your heartstrings. Julia Child and her husband did not have children, so fertility was an issue in their marriage. But they just kept things moving. Well, in this particular scene, she is in the kitchen whipping up a meal like she does, and her husband comes in, and they greet each other, have a little chit chat. He hands her a letter from her sister. And she opens the letter and reads it and finds out that someone is expecting. And you can hear the crack in her voice, and you can see her trying to, not let it bother her. But the way that Stanley Tucci's character just came right on in as a supportive husband, just put his arm around her. No words needed to be said, but he knew that she was feeling some kind of way. And I just loved that scene. So Meryl Streep and Stanley Tucci are my Nailed It for this week. All right, folks, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that like button. And remember, we are available on BlueSky at HYSI. Okay, moviegoers, you know what to do. Until next week, I need you to see a movie because I'm going to see a movie. Until next week, bye-bye.